to help you succeed. Reason, in the sense of using rationality, logic, and objective sources of information, is clearly a necessary core component of leadership. No person of influence can function at high levels without it. However, there is also important leadership aspects that transcend pure reasoning. They are subjective, internal, and experiential. These intuitive aspects of leadership are not infallible, but they are highly significant and valuable. Leaders who want to keep growing, to be equipped and empowered for the next level, must know how to utilize all the resources and tools available to them. This is what separates the great leaders from the good ones. What intuition is and what it isn't. There are several ways to describe and recognize intuition. Sometimes it is referred to as your subjective, internal, or inner world. However, at the end of the day, it is simply your immaterial life. Within you are values, thoughts, emotions, and passions. They cannot be seen or touched because they are not physical, but they are real. They exist. They are an essential part of you, and they will serve you well if you honor and develop them. Some theorists define intuition as the ability to understand something without using conscious reasoning. My own definition is broader. I see intuition as the capacity to make decisions based on integrating objective and subjective truth. That is, when we access both internal and external information, we have a much more accurate understanding of reality and a greater ability to make the right decisions. Thus, intuitive leaders, those who lead from the gut, pay attention not just to numbers and research, but also to their own heart, as well as other internal realities we'll cover in this book. I believe Jesus was referring to a similar dynamic when he said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind." Matthew chapter 22, verse 37. When we integrate all of ourselves in seeking Him, our lives work better. In the same way, when we integrate all the avenues of truth we can access into our leadership, we can make much better decisions. There are a few other terms that can be confused with this understanding of intuition, and it may help to clarify these. Instinct. Instinct is an innate, inborn behavior pattern that does not have its basis in learning. For example, birds build nests without seeing how their parents did it. And I have seen leaders act to protect their people without a thought for themselves, as a parent acts on instinct to save her child. A good illustration of this is a business owner friend who, hearing that an employee's child was very sick, ran out of a board meeting and went straight to the hospital to help. Impulse. An impulse is an abrupt emotion that is strong enough to drive a behavior without thinking about it. For example, rather than thinking through the source of the frustration, a leader may impulsively lash out. Spiritualization. Spiritualization is the tendency to use one's faith to avoid making tough decisions. It can be driven by fear of making mistakes, a fear of conflict, or even by laziness. For example, a CEO might say, "I'm waiting on the Lord for a leading about whether or not to acquire that company," when the truth is that the CEO is avoiding time-consuming due diligence work or potential conflict with other leaders. Intuition, as I use it with my clients, differs from instinct, impulse, and spiritualization. It is hard work that requires a lot of thinking, feeling, and talking things through, and then allowing all those aspects of decision-making to shake hands with one another. But time and time again, I have found that the best leaders make the best choices by engaging in this approach. In this book, we'll explore 5 key aspects that shape your intuitive world: values, thoughts, emotions, relationships, and transformation, and how you can use them not only to make better decisions, but to significantly impact your leadership for the long haul. When used the right way, your gut intuition, all these internal aspects of who you are, will become a vital and essential part of your leadership repertoire. How intuitive